This is the Opus Curve 24-inch bicycle. It's a kid size bicycle. In this video I'll review it briefly in terms of what equipment it has and as well as how it works. And this is Opus's website on the Curve. It comes in 3 sizes, so there are all of them listed here, and some engineering features here or marketing claims that Opus has. This bicycle costs in 2024 is $500. Dealer may sell for less or more, whatever. So let's take a look at what are you getting for your money's worth if you're buying into a Curve. First off, it says this should be every kid's first pedal bike. I don't know if it should be, but it could be. Whether it's worth the effort and your money, it's up for you to decide. Next item here is that they build them lightweight. No, they do not. If they aimed for lightweight, they missed that mark by a vast mile. More of it coming up on later, and it has to do with, yes, they use strong alloy tubing. This tubing is standardized. Tubing sizes are manufactured to some industrial standards. Opus doesn't make the tubing, they buy the tubing. Comes in 5 meter or whatever, 20-foot lengths, and then they slice and dice and weld. The bicycle has, as its name suggests, 24-inch diameter wheels, and it comes with a tire that is extremely chunky. This is a 2 1/8 inch tire. That 1/8, I'm not inventing it, there, 2.125 in decimal. If you like decimal numbers, there it is. It's 1/8 of an inch. For 2024, the tire, as given in the specifications here, is same brand, same size, 24 by 2 1/8, and its tread pattern, let's look at it in that silver color, because that's what we have. So the tire tread pattern looks very rugged, but don't take it into mud, okay? It's not gonna work for off-roading because the gaps between the knobs on the tire are just too tiny for the mud to clear and to have any kind of grip. The tire will work fantastically well on pavement. Will also work on gravel. Does not work in wet grass. If you're going, say, uphill in wet grass, on flat, sure, on flat, yeah. But yeah, so you get the idea. So it's too slippery in grass and too slippery in mud. It's just going to be spinning the wheel going nowhere. The tire is super chunky and heavy, adding to the enormous weight of the bicycle. But if you're tempted to replace it with something much lighter, there are a lot of lighter tires out there. However, the design concept here is that this bike has no springs and any kind of suspension to it. The only source of suspending the rider and cushioning the ride is by having a large air volume tire, such as these. So when inflated sensibly, say, I don't know, 20, 30, 40 PSI, it will cushion the rider however much your child weighs. Typically 60 pounds, 80 pounds, 100 pounds, whatever a size of rider that would be able to fit on these bikes or on a 24-inch bicycle. So this function of this tire is not to be rugged and off-roading, it's to be for cushioning the ride, okay? So the bike has this rugged tires, rim brakes, very sturdy, oversized, very thick frame everywhere, a grippy pedal that doesn't spin, it never did, a one-by drivetrain system. So one chain ring at the front that has this plastic guard, so the pants on the kid, or the legging on the pants, ideally won't get too greasy. And we have here for a derailleur a Shimano Tourney with exactly that many gears. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This gear ratio is chosen. I'm just looking for numbers on it. No numbers, but you can see that this last one is very large. It's suited well enough for going up the hill, and this first one is tiny enough to go fast and keep up with mom and dad or adults. The bicycle has rim brakes, front and back. And rim brakes, we know they don't quite work in the wet. Bike has no fenders, no side stand or kickstand, that's why it's kind of just leaning against the wall. It has a couple of these reflectors on it and one bell that just needs to be hit hard enough. The shifter is mounted, of course, on the right hand side here, and it's a twist grip. So how does all this work? Well, the bicycle, first of all, weighs a ton, a brick ton. When suspended, the bicycle weighs 12.4 kilograms or 27.3 pounds measured by this scale. That's a lot of weight for any kid to lift and carry, and yeah, it is extremely heavy, completely unnecessarily. Probably the tubular steel frame, the tubes on this bicycle are not standard gauge, standard wall thickness, also known as Schedule 40 thickness. They may be Schedule 80 extra heavy or extra heavy. Those are actual steel piping terms. If I make a simple Google search on looking up this pipe schedule concept here and click on the first thing that comes up, it's immediately obvious that the pipe sizes used for bicycle manufacturing, say 1/2 inch or 3/4 or 1 inch pipes, they all have different variations that have, here is standard, here is extra heavy, that's not extra small, this is not garment, okay? So this one has a Schedule 80, has a thicker wall, that's decimal point 147, that's more than decimal point 109. You can see the wall thicknesses are increasing here because top of the chart here says wall thickness. So all of these pipes typically available here for any manufacturer to make anything out of. You have a choice of wall thicknesses while having the same outside diameter, this here pipe size, or OD, outside diameter, nominally. So that's what this pipe schedule concept is. It's possible to grab the heavy pipe or grab the light pipe of the same size and make the bicycle weighing like a brick ton or not. So the bike weighs a ton. It's very nearly impossible for a kid to lift it up and over anything. A 6-inch curb, or stone or whatever, anything, just about forget it. However, with the increased mass of the system, once it's set in motion, it has a larger inertia with the increased mass, and that helps a kid to go in a straight line as opposed to steering being too twitchy, if you know what I mean. Kids don't have a great coordination, so the extra weight of the bicycle does help them go straight. So whether it's a practical thing that the bike weighs this much and is made out of heavy steel tubes, or the bike is tracking in a straight line easier and less sensitive to irregular steering input like kids would have, that's up to you to decide, and nobody's crashed with this bike. These brakes are super inexpensive and they all don't work too great because they are rim brakes, and as soon as they get wet they are pretty ineffective. Operating the brakes needs an unusual amount of force. They are not exactly two-finger brakes. Now, that observation comes from an adult. Again, do kids have the fine motor skills to be really precise with the braking input? No, they don't. Are they better off with something as crude as these brakes? Yeah, probably they are. Next up, the shifter. It's not a thumb shifter, it's a grab it and then wrestle with it. Again, do kids have fine motor skills to do sophisticated shifting with their hands? No. Will they work really well with an unsophisticated, just grab it and twist its neck type shifter? Probably they're better off with this one, given its simplicity. The bicycle's drivetrain also doesn't have too many gears. Is it enough for a kid to keep up with an adult? Yes, it is. Is it overly complicated? No, it's dirt cheap. It's the cheapest there is out there, basically. So should a kid's first bicycle have brakes that don't work in the rain or marginally? It's unlikely that a kid would be learning significantly or spending significant amount of time in rain. But again, if the wheels get wet from the sprinkler that's watering the lawn or something, and the rim gets wet, brakes are not gonna work or not do well. Can a softer brake pad compound be fitted on it here and of course here? It's not gonna really solve the problem. You need disc brakes. That's what would solve the better brakes issue here. So it's a decision the manufacturer made, expecting most kids to learn in dry weather and ride in dry weather. It is just what it is. How about this super hard to twist SRAM twist shifter? Again, it took months for my kid to get used to the concept of shifting and to develop enough grip strength to change the gears efficiently as the incline changes. People get used to it. Is it best or ideal? No, but it is what it is. How about this $20, literally $20 Shimano tourney? Would a quality component behave any differently in terms of gear shifting efficiency, or more like falling with the bike on the derailleur side, on the drive side, and bending it? That's more likely to happen. So if it comes to replacing this, it's really practical to have an inexpensive, not a quality component, but the manufacturer here, I think, erred on the side of caution here. Yes, the bicycle has 7 gears. That's one more than my bicycle had when I was a teenager. Yes, I'm that old. So the bicycle could be improved upon, but I think as a package with the big chunky tires that suspend the ride or cushion the ride, with its larger mass that will help balance the fact that the rider will have unexpected and irregular or imprecise steering input, imprecise or insensitive braking input. I think it's sensible to give them only a V brake and not to get them a handful of a really efficient disc brake. So overall, how did this bike work for my kid? You know, we bicycled together, the kid learned some skills on it, and they eventually grew it out. And it worked on paved roads really well. Yeah, the weight of the bike when it came to carrying it up the stairs or over a curb and whatever, that was painful, and the kid would fall over on the bicycle when going into the elevator or whatever. So it's not just the weight of the bicycle, the kid needs to learn the coordination of how to handle the bicycle while pushing the bike, standing still, 2 feet on the ground and straddling the frame at a stop line or a red light. So can the kid keep up with mom and dad? Obviously not with adult power and whatever, but the kid can go fast enough to make it a family ride and to have it enjoyable. So I think the bike is quite well designed and well priced for filling in this role: family rides in dry weather, learning some road safety with mom and dad.